The lights of the Grand Colosseum burned bright enough to blind. Ji-woo stood in the center of the massive arena, her heart pounding so hard she could feel it in her throat. Around her, thousands of aliens filled the seats, their bodies strange and terrifying. Some had scales that gleamed like metal. Others had too many eyes or too many arms. Their voices merged into a sound like thunder, and Ji-woo knew they were not cheering for her. She looked up at the visitors' platform where Ambassador Hyan sat with the rest of Earth's delegation. Hyan's face was tight with worry. Next to him, Taeyang gripped the railing, his military uniform pressed and perfect. They had argued against this. They had told Earth's government that humanity was not ready. But Earth needed this. They needed respect. They needed the galaxy to see them as equals. 3 years ago, humanity had discovered they were not alone. The Galactic Federation had made contact, and Earth had joined with hope and excitement. But that excitement had died quickly. The other species saw humans as weak, fragile, almost useless. Earth's gravity was considered light. Their atmosphere was too oxygen-rich. Their bodies were soft, with thin bones and weak muscles compared to species from harsher worlds. The galactic combat trials decided everything. Win here, and your species earned military contracts, trade advantages, and respect. Lose, and you stayed at the bottom. Earth had been at the bottom since they joined. Ji-woo was supposed to change that. She was humanity's first competitor, chosen after a year of searching for Earth's best fighter. The arena floor was made of some alien material that felt wrong under her feet. Too smooth, too hard. The walls rose up high, covered in screens that showed her face to the crowd. She looked small on those screens, scared, human. Across from her, the gate opened. Her opponent walked out, and Ji-woo's breath caught. Crix was massive, standing at least 8 feet tall. His body was covered in hard plates that looked like armor, but was actually his skin. He had 4 arms, each one thick with muscle. His eyes were black and emotionless. He was Vrel, an insect species known for their strength and their cruelty. The crowd roared with approval. Crix was not even a champion. He was mid-level, a scout. The arena masters had picked him as an easy opponent, someone to quickly eliminate the humans so the real fights could begin. The message was clear. Humanity did not belong here. The arena master's voice boomed across the Colosseum, speaking in the common galactic language that Ji-woo had spent months learning. The human faces Crix of the Vrel hives begin. Crix did not rush. He walked toward her slowly, confidently. Why would he rush? What could a human possibly do to him? Ji-woo had trained for this moment. Back on Earth, her instructor Minho had worked with her every day for 6 months. He was the best martial artist humanity had, and he had taught her everything he knew. She had practiced until her body ached, until the moves became automatic. She knew she was not as strong as these aliens, but speed could beat strength. Technique could beat power. She moved first, circling to Crix's left. He tracked her with those dead eyes, unbothered. Ji-woo saw her opening. She planted her foot and launched into a spinning kick, the same move she had performed 1,000 times in training. Her body twisted through the air, perfect form, all her power flowing into her leg. Her foot connected with Crix's armored torso. The impact jarred up her leg. It felt like kicking a stone wall. Crix did not stumble. He did not even move. He just stood there, looking down at the spot where she had kicked him. Then he looked at her. The crowd exploded with laughter. The sound washed over Ji-woo like a wave. On the giant screens, she could see the commentators, aliens from a dozen different species, all of them laughing. Their words scrolled across the bottom in multiple languages. Pathetic. Is that all? The human cannot even bruise chitin. Crix backhanded her almost casually. His hand was bigger than her head. The blow caught her across the chest and sent her flying. Ji-woo hit the arena floor hard, sliding across the smooth surface. Pain exploded through her ribs. The air rushed out of her lungs. For a moment, she could not breathe at all. She tried to get up. Her arms shook. Her vision blurred. Crix was walking toward her again, taking his time. The crowd was chanting something now, probably mocking her. She could taste blood in her mouth. The medical team appeared at the edge of the arena. They were gesturing for her to stay down, to give up. The match was over. Everyone knew it was over. Ji-woo looked up at the visitors' platform. Hyan had his head in his hands. Tae-yang was stone-faced, but his jaw was clenched tight. Behind them, she could see the other members of Earth's delegation. Some looked angry. Some looked sad. All of them looked disappointed. She had failed. She had come to prove humanity belonged in the galaxy, and instead she had proven exactly what everyone already believed. Humans were weak. They were not warriors. They did not belong among the stars. The medical team ran onto the arena floor and helped her up. Her legs barely held her. They practically carried her toward the exit. The crowd was still laughing. The sound followed her all the way out. In the medical bay, Ji-woo lay on a bed that was not made for human bodies. Everything in the galaxy was built for species bigger and stronger than humans. Even the medical equipment felt wrong. A Vrel doctor examined her with devices that beeped and hummed. He did not speak to her, just ran his tests and made notes. Ambassador Hyan came into the medical bay, followed by Tae-yang. They both looked exhausted. "I'm sorry," Ji-woo said. Her voice came out rough and painful. Hyan shook his head. "You have nothing to apologize for. This was a mistake. We never should have entered you in this tournament. We should withdraw completely," Tae-yang added. He was pacing, his hands behind his back. "This has damaged Earth's reputation more than if we had not competed at all. The footage of this fight will be broadcast across 1,000 worlds. Everyone will see humanity's weakness." "We're not weak," Ji-woo said, but even she did not believe it right now. "Compared to them, we are," Tae-yang replied. He was not being cruel, just honest. "Their bones are denser. Their muscles are stronger. They evolved on worlds with higher gravity, thinner atmospheres, more dangerous predators. Earth was easy compared to their home worlds. We never had a chance." Dr. Sora entered the medical bay then, carrying a data pad. She was the team's xenobiologist, responsible for understanding alien biology and how it compared to humans. She looked confused. "Something is wrong with the readings," Sora said. "What do you mean?" Hyan asked. "I mean, the scans do not make sense." Sora pulled up data on her pad, showing it to them. "Look at the muscle tissue in Ji-woo's leg, the one she kicked with. There are micro tears in the fibers from the impact. That's normal for that kind of injury," Tae-yang said. "Yes, but look at this." Sora swiped to another screen. "These tears are already healing. And not just healing. The muscle fibers are restructuring. They're becoming denser. And her bone density in that leg has increased." They all stared at her. "That's impossible," Hyan said. "Bone density does not change in a few hours." "Not for any species we have met," Sora agreed. "But maybe it does for humans." Ji-woo sat up slowly, ignoring the pain. "What are you saying?" Sora looked at her, and for the first time since the fight, there was something other than disappointment in someone's eyes. There was curiosity. "I am saying that maybe we have been thinking about this wrong. Maybe humans are not weak. Maybe we are just untrained." Dr. Sora ran the scans 3 more times, certain the equipment was broken. But the results came back the same each time. Ji-woo's body was changing. Not slowly over weeks or months like normal healing. Right now, in real time. This cannot be correct, Hyan said, looking at the data with disbelief. Bone density does not increase this fast. Not for any species. Look for yourself. Sora pointed at the numbers on her screen. When Jiwoo arrived at the Coliseum yesterday, I took baseline scans of everyone on the team. Standard procedure. Her bone density in her right leg was normal for a human female. Now, just hours after the fight, it has increased by 0.3%. 0.3% is nothing, Taeyang said. In 2 hours? That is everything. Sora was pulling up more files now, her fingers flying across the datapad. And it is not just the bones. Look at the muscle tissue. The fibers that tore during impact are regenerating thicker and stronger. Her nervous system is showing increased myelination in the neural pathways associated with that kick motion. Her body is learning from the fight. Jiwoo touched her leg, feeling nothing different. I do not understand. What does this mean? Sora sat down on the edge of the medical bed, her eyes bright with excitement. It means humans adapt. Not over generations like evolution usually works. Not even over years. We adapt immediately in response to stress. All species heal from injuries, Hyan pointed out. Yes, but not like this. Let me show you something. Sora pulled up comparison charts. I have been studying galactic biology since we joined the Federation. Every species we have met is what we call evolutionary stable. They reached their peak millions of years ago and have not changed since. The Vrel evolved on a high-gravity world with deadly predators. Their exoskeletons and strength are the result of millions of years of optimization. They are perfect for their environment. The Dravik, the Kelth, the Trosses, all of them, perfect. Stable, unchanging. So they are better adapted than us, Taeyang said. No, they are adapted to their home worlds. But humans? Sora's voice was rising with excitement. We come from a death world. Earth is ice ages, heat waves, droughts, earthquakes, volcanoes, diseases, predators, parasites. The environment keeps changing, so we had to keep changing too. We never had time to become stable. We are still evolving. Still adapting. She pulled up images of Earth's history. Look at our ancestors. Homo erectus. Homo neanderthalensis. Homo sapiens. We are not the first human species. We are just the ones who survived because we could adapt faster than the others. When the climate changed, we changed with it. When food became scarce, we learned to eat new things. When predators hunted us, we became better hunters. Our bodies never stopped evolving because our world never stopped trying to kill us. Jiwoo listened, her mind racing. So when Crix hit me, your body treated it as a new threat, a new challenge to adapt to. Sora pulled up a model of human cellular structure. Most species have stable cellular repair systems. They fix damage by restoring things to exactly how they were before. But human cells do not just repair. They upgrade. Every time you break a bone, it heals back stronger. Every time you tear a muscle, it grows back bigger. Every time you stress your cardiovascular system, it becomes more efficient. We call it adaptation, but it is really continuous evolution. So I got stronger from losing the fight? Jiwoo asked. Yes, and you will keep getting stronger every time you fight. The question is how much stronger and how fast. Sora looked at her seriously. The other species in this tournament are fighting at their biological maximum. They have trained their whole lives, but their bodies cannot get any stronger than what their genetics allow. But you are nowhere near your maximum. Because humans do not have a maximum. Not really. Taeyang was pacing again, but this time he looked thoughtful instead of defeated. How many fights would it take? For her to match their strength? I do not know, Sora admitted. This is unprecedented. No one has ever studied human adaptation under these specific conditions. But based on the rate of change I'm seeing, maybe 5 fights? Maybe 10? Every fight will push your body further, and every push will trigger more adaptation. The tournament will not allow 10 fights, Hyan said. After that loss, they will drop us from the rankings. We are finished. Then we request another fight, Taeyang said suddenly. Everyone looked at him. They think we are defeated. They think we are humiliated. Let them think that. Taeyang was smiling now, a sharp military smile. We request a second match. Appeal to their sense of sport. Say that we deserve a chance to prove the first fight was a fluke. They will agree because they want to embarrass us again. They want to show the whole galaxy that humans do not belong. You want to use Ji-Woo as bait, Hyan said slowly. I want to use their arrogance against them, Taeyang corrected. They have no idea what we just discovered. They think they know everything about combat biology. They think they are perfect. But they stopped evolving millions of years ago. We never stopped. And we are about to show them what that means. Ji-Woo stood up from the medical bed. Her ribs still hurt, but the pain was less than before. I want to fight again. Ji-Woo, this is dangerous, Hyan warned. We do not fully understand what is happening to your body. There could be side effects. Long-term damage. There will be long-term damage if we give up now, Ji-Woo replied. Earth will be the bottom of the Federation forever. Humans will always be seen as weak. Our children will grow up in a galaxy that treats them as inferior. I do not accept that. Sora checked her data pad. If we are going to do this, we need to maximize the adaptation response. Ji-Woo, you need to train. Not the way you trained before. We need to stress your body in specific ways to trigger targeted evolution. What kind of training? Ji-Woo asked. Hard training. Painful training. We need to create microfractures in your bones so they heal denser. We need to tear your muscle fibers so they rebuild stronger. We need to push your nervous system so it develops faster reflexes. Sora looked at Taeyang. How much time do we have before we can request another fight? The tournament rules allow same-day appeals if both fighters agree. But Crix will not fight Ji-Woo again. He already beat her. It would be beneath him. Taeyang thought for a moment. We can request a different opponent. Someone at the same level. They will grant it within a day or two. Then we have maybe 30 hours, Sora calculated. It is not much time, but based on Ji-Woo's adaptation rate, it might be enough. Hyan looked at all of them, then sighed. I will submit the appeal. But Ji-Woo, are you certain about this? You do not have to prove anything. You already fought for Earth. No one can ask more than that. I am not doing this because someone asked, Ji-Woo said. She looked at her hands, still bruised from the fight. I am doing this because when I stood in that arena, I realized something. The galaxy thinks we are weak because we come from an easy world. But Earth was not easy. We survived ice and fire. We survived hunger and disease. We survived everything the universe threw at us. And we did not just survive. We thrived. We spread across our entire planet. We conquered every environment. Not because we were the strongest or the fastest, but because we never stopped trying. We never stopped adapting. And I'm not going to stop now. Minho, who had been quiet this whole time, stepped forward. Then let us begin. If we only have 30 hours, we cannot waste them. The next day and a half became the most brutal training of Ji-Woo's life. Minho did not teach her new techniques. Instead, he made her perform the same kicks over and over against reinforced training posts. Her bones fractured. Her muscles tore. Her body screamed for rest. But each time she pushed through the pain, she felt something changing. something growing stronger. SOR, and monitored everything, tracking each adaptation. The numbers kept climbing. Bone density increasing. Muscle fiber density increasing. Neural pathway efficiency increasing. When the tournament officials confirmed Ji-Woo's second fight, the galaxy watched with amusement. The foolish humans were back for more humiliation. But in the training room, Ji-Woo landed another kick against the post, and this time, the post cracked. She was ready. The arena was even more crowded than before. News of the humans' return had spread across the Colosseum like fire. Aliens who had not bothered watching the first fight now filled every seat, eager to see the weak species humiliate themselves again. The betting system showed overwhelming odds against Ji-Woo. No one gave her any chance at all. Ji-Woo walked into the arena with her head high. She felt different than 2 days ago. Her body was sore from the brutal training, but underneath the soreness was something else. Strength. Real strength. Her bones felt heavier, denser. Her muscles felt coiled and ready. When she closed her eyes, she could feel her heart beating steady and strong, pushing oxygen through her blood with new efficiency. On the visitors' platform, the Earth delegation watched with nervous hope. Sora held her datapad, ready to record everything. Taeyang stood at attention, his military training keeping his face neutral. Only his hands gripping the railing showed his tension. Hyan had already prepared 2 statements, one for victory and one for defeat. He expected to use the second one. The gate across from Ji-Woo opened, and her new opponent entered. Dex was a Dravik warrior, a reptilian species known for their aggression and their pride. He stood 7 feet tall, covered in thick scales that looked like they could stop bullets. His jaw was filled with sharp teeth, and his claws gleamed under the arena lights. He had won 15 fights in this tournament already. He was not famous, but he was respected. The crowd roared their approval. This would be quick. This would be entertaining. The arena master's voice boomed across the Colosseum. The human faces Dex of the Dravik war clans. Begin. Dex did not wait. He charged immediately, his claws extended and his jaw open in a battle roar. He moved fast for something so big. 2 days ago, Ji-Woo would not have been able to react in time. But her nervous system had adapted. The 30 hours of training had forced her brain to build new pathways, faster connections between her eyes and her muscles. She dodged to the side, her body moving before her mind fully registered the decision. Dex's claws missed her by inches. The crowd gasped. That was not supposed to happen. Dex spun, faster than Ji-Woo expected, and swung his tail at her legs. She jumped, barely clearing it. Her instructor Minho had drilled into her that the Dravik used their tails as weapons. She had practiced against simulations for hours until the response became automatic. But jumping was not enough. She needed to attack. As she came down from the jump, she drove her elbow toward Dex's neck, aiming for the gap between his scales. It was a vulnerable spot that Minho had identified. Her elbow connected, and Dex grunted. It was not much, but it was something. She had actually hurt him. The crowd's cheering faltered slightly. This was not going like the first fight. Dex grabbed at her with both hands, angry now. Ji-Woo ducked under his grip and drove a low kick into his knee joint. The kick had power behind it, more power than she had ever generated before. Her restructured muscles fired with explosive force. Her denser bones transferred the impact without breaking. Dex's knee buckled. Not much, but enough to make him stumble. The arena went silent. Ji-Woo did not give him time to recover. She kicked the same knee again, harder this time. Dex roared in pain and surprise. How could a weak little human, damage a Dravik warrior? But Dex was still stronger, still more experienced. He backhanded her with his clawed hand, catching her across the shoulder. The blow sent her rolling across the arena floor. Pain shot through her body. She tasted blood again. Get up, she told herself. Get up, get up, get up. She pushed herself to her feet. Dex was limping toward her, favoring his damaged knee. His eyes were filled with rage. He had expected an easy victory. Instead, this human had actually hurt him, made him bleed, made him look weak in front of the entire galaxy. He charged again, all strategy forgotten, just pure rage. Ji-Woo saw her opportunity. She had watched recordings of Dravik fights during her training. They were aggressive, powerful, but predictable when they were angry. They always led with their claws. She waited until the last second, then dropped low and swept her leg out. Her timing was perfect. Her newly efficient nervous system had calculated the exact moment. Dex's good leg caught on her sweep, and with his other knee already damaged, he could not compensate. He crashed to the arena floor hard enough to crack the surface. The crowd was completely silent. Now Ji-Woo was on him immediately. She drove her knee into the back of his neck, the same vulnerable spot she had hit before. Then again, and again. Each impact drove Dex's face into the arena floor. He tried to throw her off, but his position was bad, and his knee was damaged. She was smaller, but she was faster now, smarter, more adaptable. Dex stopped moving. The medical team rushed in, checking his vital signs. After a moment, the arena master's voice rang out. Dex is unconscious. The human is victorious. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. Then the arena exploded with sound. But it was not laughter this time. It was shock, confusion, disbelief. On the giant screens, the commentators were scrambling to explain what had just happened. The odds makers were in chaos. The betting systems had crashed. On the visitors' platform, Sora was checking her data. Her bone density increased another 8% during the fight. Her muscle efficiency is up 15%. Her reaction time dropped by 40 milliseconds. She adapted mid-fight. While she was fighting, her body was evolving. Taeyang was smiling now, really smiling. That is what I wanted to see. Hyeon just stared at the arena floor, where Ji-Woo was standing with her hand raised in victory. We might actually have a chance. In the medical bay, Ji-Woo sat while the Vrel doctor examined her injuries. He kept making strange clicking sounds, his version of confusion. The damage she had taken from Dex's claws should have been worse. But her body was already healing faster than before. The adaptation was not just making her stronger. It was making her more durable. Minho entered the medical bay with a datapad full of fight footage. You did well. But Dex was angry at the end. That made him sloppy. Your next opponent will not be so emotional. I know, Ji-Woo said. I got lucky with that sweep. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity, Minho replied. You were prepared. Now the galaxy knows that humans can fight. They will not underestimate you again. That makes the next fights harder. How much harder? Minho pulled up rankings on his datapad. You are now ranked in the middle tier. Your next fight will be against someone who actually trained for this. Someone who studies their opponents and adapts their strategy. They will know about your victory over Dex. They will plan for it. Good, Ji-Woo said. Then I will learn from fighting them. Sora came in with more scan results. Your body is holding up better than I expected. The adaptation is spreading. Not just your bones and muscles anymore. Your cardiovascular system is more efficient. Your lung capacity has increased. Even your red blood cell count is higher. You are becoming a better fighter at the cellular level. How many more fights can I do? Ji-Woo asked. Sora hesitated. Your body is under constant stress. The adaptation is fast, but it is not free. You are burning energy at an incredible rate. Your metabolism is working overtime. If you push too far too fast, your system could collapse. You could have organ failure. But how many fights? Maybe 5 more. Maybe 10. I cannot be certain. Every fight makes you stronger, but also pushes your body closer to its breaking point. Ji Woo nodded. Then I need to win fast. Over the next week, Ji Woo fought 3 more times. Each opponent was stronger than the last. Each fight pushed her body further. And each time she won. Not easily. Not without pain. But she won. The galaxy was watching now. Really watching. Newsfeeds showed her fights on 1,000 worlds. Scientists debated how human adaptation worked. Military strategists discussed what it meant for galactic politics. And the other fighters in the tournament started to worry. After her 4th victory, Ji Woo had climbed to the upper tier rankings. Only the elite fighters remained above her. And at the very top, undefeated for 5 years, was the champion, Vornak, a Dravik warlord who had never lost a fight, who had trained since birth in 17 different combat styles, who represented the absolute peak of what evolution could create. The tournament officials met and made their decision. They would match Ji Woo against Vornak. If she won, she would become champion. If she lost, the human threat would be eliminated, and the proper order would be restored. When the announcement came, the entire galaxy held its breath. This would not just be a fight. It would be a statement about humanity's place among the stars, about whether adaptation could be perfection, about whether the weak could ever truly become strong. Ji Woo accepted the challenge without hesitation. She had not come to the arena to be average. She had come to show the galaxy what humans could do. And she was not done yet. The news spread faster than light across the galaxy. The human would face Vornak. Every news feed carried the story. Every species debated what would happen. The betting systems reopened with careful odds. Vornak was still the heavy favorite, but for the first time in years, people were actually placing bets against him. In the training facility beneath the Colosseum, Ji Woo sat with her team. The next fight was scheduled for 3 days away. 3 days to prepare for the most dangerous opponent in the galaxy. MIHO pulled up footage of Vornak's past fights on the large display screen. Watch carefully. Vornak is not like the others you have faced. He does not make mistakes. The screen showed Vornak destroying opponent after opponent. He was 9 feet tall, covered in battle scars that told stories of 1,000 victories. His scales were darker than other Dravik, hardened from years of combat. He moved with perfect efficiency, never wasting energy, never leaving openings. He had studied 17 different combat styles and could switch between them instantly. He is fast, Minho said, as they watched Vornak dodge a Vrel warrior's attack without even looking. Faster than any Dravik we have recorded. His reaction time is at the biological maximum for his species. But it is still a maximum, Taeyang added. He cannot get faster. He is at his limit. His limit is still higher than Ji Woo's current level, Minho warned. Even with all the adaptation, she is still operating with human biology. We have made incredible progress, but we are not dealing with an average opponent anymore. Vornak is perfection. Ji Woo watched the screen as Vornak ended another fight with a single devastating strike. Everyone keeps saying he is perfect. But perfect for what? Perfect for his home world? Perfect for how he was trained? Or perfect for fighting me? Sora looked up from her datapad. What do you mean? I mean that all these species reached their maximum millions of years ago. They stopped evolving. Their bodies are optimized for the threats they faced on their homeworlds. Ji Woo pointed at the screen. But I am not a threat from his home world. I am something new. Something his evolution never prepared him for. You think he has a weakness? Taeyang asked. Everyone has a weakness. We just need to find it. Over the next 3 days, the team worked around the clock. Sora ran countless simulations of the fight, trying to find any advantage. Minho drilled Ji-woo on new techniques, strategies that might surprise Vornak. Taeyang studied Dravik psychology, looking for mental edges. But the more they learned, the more worried they became. Vornak had fought opponents from every major species. He had won tournaments on a dozen different worlds. He had trained with masters from every combat tradition the galaxy knew. There was no technique he had not seen, no strategy he had not countered. On the second day, Sora delivered her assessment. Your body is at its limit. The adaptation has been incredible, but you are running on borrowed time. Your bone density is now 40% higher than when you arrived. Your muscle efficiency has increased by 30%. Your nervous system is operating at a level we have never recorded in any human. But your body is under enormous stress. Your cells are working overtime just to hold you together. Can I survive one more fight? Ji-woo asked. Survive? Probably. Win? Sora shook her head. The numbers do not look good. Vornak is still stronger, still faster, still more experienced. Even with all your adaptation, he has every physical advantage. Then I need to adapt more, Ji-woo said. There is no more time. The fight is tomorrow. Then I will adapt during the fight. I did it against X. My body learned while I was fighting. That was different. You were fighting someone angry, someone making mistakes. Sora looked at her seriously. Vornak will not make mistakes. And if you push your body any harder, your organs could fail mid-fight. Your heart could stop. Your brain could hemorrhage. You could die in that arena. Ji-woo stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the lights of the Colosseum. Somewhere out there, billions of aliens were preparing to watch her fail, to watch humanity be put in its place, to confirm that humans were not meant to stand among the stars as equals. I have been thinking about why they put me in this fight, Ji-woo said quietly. The tournament officials. They could have had me fight my way up slowly. More time to adapt. More time to get stronger. But they match me against Vornak now, when I am barely strong enough to compete. Do you know why? To eliminate you before you become a real threat, Taeyang said. Exactly. They are afraid. Not of what I am now, but of what I could become. Ji-woo turned to face her team. Every species in the galaxy is at their peak. They cannot get stronger, cannot get faster, cannot evolve. But I can. And that terrifies them. Because if one human can do this, then all humans can. Earth is not weak. We are just new. And they want to stop us before we realize our potential. So you are going to fight even though you might die? Hyen asked. He had been quiet until now. I am going to fight because I might die, Ji-woo corrected. If I back down now, humanity will always be seen as the species that gave up. The species that could not compete. Our children will grow up in a galaxy that treats them as inferior. I will not let that happen. Minho stepped forward. Then we need a plan. You cannot beat Vornak in a fair fight. So we make it unfair. What do you mean? Vornak has trained to fight other species at their peak. But you are not at your peak. You are still climbing, still evolving. He will expect you to fight at one level, but what if you keep changing? Keep adapting? He has never fought an opponent who gets stronger during the match. Sora was nodding now. Your adaptation is fastest when you are under stress. The more pressure you are under, the more your body responds. We have been trying to protect you, to keep you from getting hurt. But what if we do the opposite? What if we let him hurt you? That sounds like a terrible plan, Hyan said. It is the only plan, Taeyang replied. Vornek's strength is his experience. He knows exactly how much damage each of his strikes will cause. He calibrates his attacks based on his opponent's durability. But if Ji-Woo's durability keeps increasing during the fight, his calibration will be wrong. Ji-Woo understood. So I let him hit me. Let my body adapt to his strength. Then, when he thinks he knows my limits, I show him that I do not have limits. It is risky, Sora warned. If he hits you too hard before you adapt, the fight ends immediately. Then I need to be careful about which hits I take. Ji-Woo looked at the footage of Vornak again. Ji-Woo looked at the footage of Vornak. Ji-Woo looked at the footage of Vornak. He is perfect. He is experienced. He is strong. But he is also predictable. Because perfection means doing the same thing every time. The same techniques. The same patterns. He cannot change, because change means becoming less perfect. And you can change, Minho said, understanding. I have to change. It is the only thing humans are good at. That night, Ji-Woo barely slept. She ran through scenarios in her mind, thought about every possible way the fight could go. Her body ached from the training, from the adaptation, from pushing herself beyond what any human had ever done before. In the morning, Sora ran final scans. Your cellular structure is holding barely. But Ji-Woo, I need you to know something. If you lose this fight, you will still have changed history. You have shown the galaxy that humans can compete, that we can adapt and grow. No one will see us as weak anymore. I know, Ji-Woo said, but I did not come here to compete. I came here to win. The walk to the arena felt longer than before. The crowd was massive, the largest gathering in tournament history. Billions more were watching on their home worlds. This was not just a fight anymore. It was a moment that would define humanity's future in the galaxy. In the preparation chamber, Ji-Woo wrapped her hands carefully. Minho checked her equipment one last time. Taeyang gave her a final briefing on Dravik physiology. Hyan simply clasped her shoulder and said, "Whatever happens, Earth is proud of you." Then it was time. Ji-Woo walked into the arena, and the crowd's roar washed over her like a wave. Half were cheering for Vornak, their champion, their symbol of perfection. The other half were cheering for her, the impossible human, the representative of a species that refused to accept its place. Across the arena, Vornak entered. He looked even bigger in person, more dangerous, more perfect. He looked at her with eyes that had seen 1,000 victories, and she could see in his expression that he expected 1,001, but he did not know what she knew. He did not understand what adaptation meant. He thought he was fighting a human at her peak. He was wrong. She was just getting started. The arena master's voice cut through the noise of the crowd. The human Ji-Woo faces Vornak, 5-time champion of the Galactic Combat Trials. This match will determine the new champion. Begin. Vornak moved immediately, and Ji-Woo understood why he had never lost. He was fast, impossibly fast for something so large. His first strike came at her like lightning, a claw aimed at her chest. She barely dodged, feeling the air move as his hand passed inches from her body. He did not pause. His second strike came from a different angle, his tail whipping at her legs. She jumped, but he had expected that. His other hand was already moving to where she would land. She twisted in midair, taking the blow on her shoulder instead of her head. The impact sent her rolling across the arena floor. Pain exploded through her shoulder, but she forced herself to her feet. Vornak was already advancing, his movements efficient and calculated. He was not angry like Vex had been. He was professional. Perfect. Ji-Woo tried a kick, the same technique that had worked against her other opponents. Vornak blocked it easily with his arm, then countered with a strike to her ribs. She felt something crack. The pain was incredible, but she stayed standing. The crowd was roaring. This was what they had expected. The human was outmatched. This would be over quickly. But Ji-woo felt something else underneath the pain. Her shoulder, where Vornak had first hit her, was already adapting. The bone was hardening. The muscle was restructuring. Her body was learning his strength, measuring it, preparing to counter it. She needed more time, more hits, more data for her body to work with. Vornak struck again, a combination of attacks that forced Ji-woo backward. His claws raked across her arm, drawing blood. His tail caught her leg, making her stumble. His fist drove into her stomach, emptying her lungs. Each hit hurt. Each hit damaged her. But each hit also taught her body. The microfractures in her bones triggered immediate adaptation responses. Her muscle fibers tore and began rebuilding denser. Her nervous system mapped his attack patterns, creating new neural pathways to predict and counter them. Vornak stepped back for a moment, assessing. In all his years of fighting, he had never seen an opponent take this much damage and remain standing. Most would be unconscious by now. But this human just kept getting up. "You are tough," Vornak said, his voice deep and rough. It was the first time he had spoken during the fight. But toughness is not enough. He launched another assault, faster and harder than before. He aimed for her previous injuries, the tactical thing to do. Strike where the opponent is already damaged. But those were exactly the spots where Ji-woo's body had already adapted. The bones had healed denser. The tissue had restructured stronger. When his fist hit her ribs again, the same ribs he had cracked before, there was no crack this time. Ji-woo felt the impact, felt the force, but her body held. Vornak's eyes widened slightly. That strike should have broken bones. Should have ended the fight. Ji-woo saw her opening. While Vornak was surprised, she drove her knee into his leg, targeting the joint. The strike had power behind it now, real power. Vornak actually stumbled. The crowd went silent. Vornak recovered quickly, but something had changed in his eyes. Confusion. This was not how fights were supposed to go. Opponents got weaker as they took damage, not stronger. He pressed his attack harder, trying to end the fight before whatever was happening could continue. His strikes came faster, from more angles, with more force. He was using techniques from different combat styles now, switching between them to keep Ji-woo off balance. But Ji-woo's nervous system was learning. Every attack Vornak used, her brain cataloged. Every pattern he followed, her neurons mapped. Her reaction time kept dropping, kept getting faster. Her body kept adapting, kept evolving. She blocked a strike that should have been too fast to block. She dodged the tail sweep that should have caught her. She countered with a kick that actually made Vornak grunt in pain. On the visitor's platform, Sora was watching her datapad with wide eyes. Her bone density is increasing by the second. Her muscle efficiency is going up in real time. She is evolving mid-fight. This should not be possible. But it is happening, Taeyang said, leaning forward. She is doing it. In the arena, Ji-woo could feel the change. Her body was on fire with adaptation. Every cell was working at maximum capacity. She could feel her heart pumping stronger, her lungs pulling in more oxygen, her muscles firing with more force. The pain was still there, but it was distant now, pushed aside by the adrenaline and the adaptation. Vornak landed what should have been his finishing blow, a full-force strike to her chest. The impact echoed through the arena. Ji-woo flew backward and hit the arena wall. The crowd started to cheer, thinking it was over, but Ji-woo pushed herself off the wall and stood up. Her chest hurt, but nothing was broken. Her body had adapted too far. Vornak's maximum force was no longer enough. For the first time in 5 years, Vornak looked uncertain. He had thrown everything at her, used every technique, hit her with his full strength, and she was still standing, still getting stronger. "What are you?" Vornak asked. "Human," Jiwoo replied. "We do not know when to quit." She moved forward, and this time she was faster. This time she was stronger. This time she was the one attacking. She drove a punch into Vornak's stomach, and he actually staggered backward. She followed with a kick to his knee, the same joint she had targeted before. This time, she heard something crack. Vornak roared and swung wildly, his perfect technique forgotten. But Jiwoo was learning faster than he could adapt. She ducked under his swing and drove her elbow into his throat, right between his scales. Vornak gagged and stumbled. The crowd was in chaos now. Half were cheering for the impossible upset. Half were shouting in disbelief. The commentators have given up trying to explain what was happening. Jiwoo stepped back and looked at Vornak. He was hurt. Actually hurt. The champion was bleeding and struggling to catch his breath. But there was still fight in his eyes. Still pride. He would not go down easily. "You have never lost," Jiwoo said, "because you were born at your peak. You trained to your maximum. You became perfect. But I was born at the bottom. Every day of my life, I have been climbing. And I am not at the top yet." She thought about Earth, about her home, the death world that had forged humanity through ice ages and disasters, about her ancestors who had survived when stronger species went extinct, about every human who had ever refused to give up when the universe said they should. She thought about the first kick, the one that had made the galaxy laugh, the weak little kick that had done nothing. It was time to try again. Jiwoo ran forward and planted her foot. She launched into the same spinning kick from her first fight, the one that had bounced off Cricks uselessly. But this time, her leg was 40% denser. This time, her muscles could generate force she had never imagined. This time, her technique was perfect. Her foot struck Vornak's chest with a sound like thunder. The champion, the perfect warrior, the 5-time tournament victor, flew backward and crashed into the arena wall hard, enough to crack the reinforced material. He slid down the wall and did not get up. But Jiwoo was not done. All the frustration, all the pain, all the times the galaxy had told her that humans were weak, it all came together. She walked to the center of the arena, raised her fists, and brought them down on the arena floor with everything she had. The floor was made of advanced alien alloy, designed to withstand any attack. It was supposed to be indestructible. The impact of Jiwoo's fists sent cracked spider-webbing across the surface. The sound echoed through the entire Colosseum. The cracks spread outward, and then, with a sound like the world breaking, a split opened in the arena floor. The crowd fell completely silent. On the giant screens, the commentators just stared. The arena officials looked at each other in shock. This was not supposed to be possible. The arena floor did not break. It was built to withstand attacks from the strongest species in the galaxy, but it had never been tested against a human who refused to accept limits. The medical team rushed in and checked Vornak. After a long moment, they confirmed he was alive but unconscious, badly injured but stable. The referee, looking stunned, raised Jiwoo's hand. The winner by knockout, the new champion, Jiwoo of Earth. The arena exploded. The sound was deafening. Half the crowd was cheering wildly. The other half was in shock. But everyone, every single being in that Colosseum, was watching the human who had just done the impossible. On the visitors' platform, Hyan was already on his communication device, fielding calls from a dozen governments wanting to negotiate with Earth. Taeyang was smiling wider than anyone had ever seen. Sora just kept staring at her datapad, at the numbers that should not exist, whispering, "Impossible, impossible, impossible." Ji-woo stood in the center of the arena, looking at the split floor, at the defeated champion, at the thousands of aliens who had learned that humans were not weak. They were not fragile. They were just new, and they were getting stronger every day. In the weeks that followed, everything changed for humanity. Military contracts poured in. Trade agreements were renegotiated. The Federation Council offered Earth a seat with full voting rights. Scientists from 100 species came to study human adaptation. Military academies requested human trainers